What's up, guys? It's Eric from Hurricane, and welcome back to the top 4 match of a recent Standard Format League Cup that we got to go attend. So here on the left, you actually have yours truly. I'm going to be playing Drampa GX Zoroark. And then on the right, we have Brandon Daniels, who's going to be playing Drampa GX Garbodor. So a Drampa, not mirror match, but, you know, a face-off, I guess you could say. And we did upload a top 8 match as well, so if you guys did miss that one or haven't seen that one yet, I'll definitely be sure to put a link so you guys can go check that one out as well. But yeah, this should be an interesting matchup. To be honest, this is the first time I ever played this deck. I needed a decent deck to play at this League Cup, so I was like, you know what, I guess I'll just play this deck. It's been winning a bunch lately, so I'm just going to warn you guys, expect a couple misplays here and there. But yeah, I still somehow managed to scrub my way all the way up to top 4 today for this tournament. And here it looks like I ripped a sleeve, so I'm just going to replace that real quick. So on paper, I feel like the Zoroark version might be favored here, just because it can copy, well, the Zoroark Break, I should say, can copy Drampa GX's attack just for 1 Dark Energy, and with a Choice Band can take a knockout. So I think that alone kind of, you know, I think gives the Zoroark version a bit of an edge. But Brandon, okay, it looks like he's going to mulligan there. And you can see he has a Max Elixir in his hand. I was just about to mention, his version actually is very Max Elixir heavy. So his version is actually a good bit faster than mine. So that is the one thing I think he has going for him. He could very well potentially even set up a Drampa GX fully powered up on the first turn. So even though I think Zoroark Break is, you know, probably a better attacker than his Garbodor, just because, you know, I don't really play an excessive amount of trainer cards. You know, I can Lele or Bridget to get my Pokemon out. I can play her on Garbodor, you know, kind of easily. But a fast Drampa GX actually could be a bit of a problem. And here, oh, we actually did forget to roll to see who goes first. So, our mistake, guys. Normally you are supposed to roll before you set up, but we both, I guess, just got distracted talking or something. But I am going to get to go first, I believe, which I'm okay with. Just going first is always good, and I have 2 extra cards I can get off of a mulligan as well. So, and Brandon's going to mulligan yet again, so definitely not a deck that you expect to mulligan a lot, since I think he plays like 10 basics. I know 3 Drampa, 3 Trubbish, 2 Lele, 1 Shaman, 1 Coco promo. I think that's what he plays. So yeah, definitely a little unusual. And okay, so he actually did get something. And I'm going to draw my additional mulligan cards, and I do open with Bridget. Oh, okay, actually Brandon gets to go first, my mistake. But I do have Bridget in hand, so that'll be fine. And so here Brandon is going to get down that Ting Magma's secret base. That's going to be really what's going to help his Drampas get set up. So whenever each player benches a non-Team Magma Pokemon, they take 2 damage counters. And normally that seems really bad, but for Drampa GX, for his main attack Berserk, it does 80 plus 70 more if one of your Pokemon has damage counters. So it's a way to fulfill the requirement of that attack. So here Brandon is going to grab, it looks like a Drampa GX. These, you know, rainbow rare, hyper rare cards are like impossible to differentiate from each other, but I do believe that is a Drampa and not a Lele. Okay, so he's going to take his 2 damage counters, and he is going to, looks like Max Elixir, so he actually has a fully powered up Drampa right away, and here he's going to end. So definitely a good call on his part, just because, you know, I started the game with like a 10 card hand, so he definitely wants to throw me back down to a 6 card hand. And it was kind of unfortunate because I had Bridget in hand ready to go, and I'm starting with a Lele, so that means I might not even be able to Ultra Ball for another Lele. I don't know if it's prized or not yet, so definitely a great first turn so far from Brandon. But the one thing I would say is I think he should have held on to his Drampa, or held on to the Magma base before benching Drampa, because you know, you need damage counters on another Pokemon, not on Drampa. Okay, it looks like he's going to go for a Shaman EX here. Okay, so I'm not too sure what else he's digging for at this point. Maybe get a Choice Band down, potentially. That way he can take a one-hit KO on this Tapu Lele GX that I have in the active spot. So here he's going to get 2 damage counters down on his Shaman. And it looks like he's just going to retreat the Trubbish. But here, okay, so let's see what I end up getting. I have a Zorua. Unfortunately, I do not have Bridget like I did last time. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 damage counters, and I have a DCE, and I think I actually want to just attach the DCE to this Lele and soften up this Drampa GX a little bit here. I think that, I definitely think that's the play. So it looks like I'm a little bit conflicted, but here I am going to decide on the Lele, and I have a choice band, so I'm thinking, do I want to attach it? Because I should be able to two-shot this Drampa either way. Okay, so I did manage to hit a Bridget off of the Sycamore, but I can't use that till next turn. But I think have Ultra Ball, so I could potentially Ultra Ball and set up another Zorua, or I think I saw an Ultra Ball at least. I could be mistaken. Okay, yeah, so I guess I didn't have one. Sorry, guys. But here Brandon is going to attach a Choice Band. That seems really good. Here he's going to Field Blower, getting rid of that Choice Band I have on my side of the field. Definitely a good play by Brandon. Okay, and here he's going to do Berserk to do a 180, knocking out my Tapu Lele GX. Here I'm going to get down a Zoroark. I just need another double Colorless Energy to make something happen here. So I am going to do Tapu Lele GX. What am I going to grab? Maybe a Pokemon Fan Club or a Teammates? Okay, so it looks like I'm eyeing down Teammates, because that will allow me to get DCE and a Choice Band, and I think that is enough for a knockout. If I'm not mistaken, I forget how much I did. I think I did 100 to the Drampa last turn, so I only need to do 80 more. So yeah, all I need is actually just a DCE and Choice Band, and we can make that happen. So here I'm just double checking what I have in my hand. Okay, it looks like I'm debating on... I don't think that was a Choice Band. I think that was a Zorua. If that's the case, that might be a misplay. Or maybe I have another Choice Band in hand already. That could be it. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 damage counters, and I must already have the Choice Band if I got the Zorua. So I really hope I didn't misplay here. And... okay, I do have it in hand. I do see it. Huh. Oh wait, no, the Drampa had taken 2 damage counters from Brandon's Magma Base, so that's how I was able to knock it out. Because I was thinking I should be a little bit short, but that Magma Base actually helped me out there. So here Brandon is going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Magma Base and a Trubbish, it looks like. So no doubt, I'm sure he is going for a Garbodor here. Not a Garbodor, another Drampa here. So I really need a turn where he does not get a knockout, though. Just because I'm not going to be left with much to work with. So he's going to attach return. Okay, so that's actually kind of reassuring for me. It'll be a little bit unlikely he will be able to power up a Drampa in one turn now. If he had attached to a DCE, I would have been a little bit worried of a Max Elixir, but now that's going to force him to have 2 Max Elixirs and also hit both of them. So I think the odds are in our favor to actually stay alive this turn, but we'll see what Brandon ends up getting. Okay, and I cannot see my hand, but let's see. So Brandon is going to get a Max Elixir. Does he have another one? That's the big question here. And I do see a trainer card in his hand. I don't know if it's a Max Elixir, but let's see. Okay, so he must not have it. That's really good. Here he's just going to Righteous Edge. Just going to do 20 damage and discard my double Colorless Energy. Okay. So here, what do we do? Okay, so we have Sycamore in hand, have a Float Stone, and have a Dark Energy. So actually, if we get Zoroark Break here and a Choice Band, we can actually take a knockout if I'm not mistaken. because we have a Dark Energy in hand. And I gotta say, guys, I think I actually really messed up this turn, because that was I think that was my only way I could have been able to take a knockout here, is getting the Choice Band and Dark Energy and the Zoroark break. And that's something I thought about after I had already attached the Choice Band. I was like, oh wait, I probably should not have attached this to the active. So I guess I just was betting on not hitting the Zoroark break and the Choice Band. And it's unfortunate because I actually have Ultra Ball and Choice Band in hand and could have pulled off the entire attack if I had wanted to. But I mean, to be fair, I didn't know what I was going to draw into, but still I feel like maybe I should have just gone for it. Okay, so it looks like I am going to Ultra Ball. It looks like getting rid of a Sycamore and a Dark Energy, maybe? Okay, so I'm guessing I'm probably going to go for a Zoroark break here. Even though we can't take a knockout, we can at least do 150 damage, so that will be an option for us. Okay, so that is what I'm going to get. And so next turn, all we'll have to do is attach a double Colorless Energy to a Tapu Lele to potentially take a knockout. So I think I definitely made a bit of an awkward play this turn, like I've been saying, but I think we're still okay. It's not the end of the world. Okay, and here I will be able to do Berserk. Unfortunately, Brandon is going to have 10 hit points left over. Very unfortunate. If I had knocked out this Drampa, I do think I would have been in a very dominant position, but I just don't see it happening anymore. But here he's going to attach return. And here he's going to end. And I'm actually okay with that. I needed a double Colorless Energy for the next turn anyways, and I did not yet have one. So another potential play I could have done was maybe retreat into Zorua and used Moonless Madness to confuse the Drampa. I think there could have been some merit to that attack as well. But I think this is fine just because, like I said, all we need is a DC and we can knock out this Drampa on my next turn. Okay, so what does Brandon have in hand? I think a Hex Maniac and some energy. Here he's going to take a knockout. And I need to promote, I think, Tapu Lele here. Well, depending on what I have in hand at least. Okay, so I think I see an Ultra Ball and a Special Charge. Okay, so we have a Special Charge, that's good. We're going to be able to get 2 DCEs, I think, back into the deck. Let's see. I have Fan Club, could potentially grab. Let's see. Looks like I'm really debating here. So we're going to Ultra Ball, maybe grab a Zoroark break potentially. Or I'm sorry, a Zoroark, and then maybe use Fan Club to grab a Shaman and something else. Okay, so I have a Oranguru, so unfortunately that tells me Shaman must be prized. Unfortunately. But we still can use Oranguru to potentially dig a little deeper. And so I'm just going to instruct for 1, and unfortunately we don't really have anything to do now. Excellent. So definitely a good end on Brandon's part. I think this turn was actually really important, and I'm going to be in a lot of trouble now that I don't have a supporter to work with. I mean, I will be able to instruct on the next turn, but I definitely think this was a huge turn, because now Brandon's going to be able to go down to 1 prize, and then he can potentially just use a Garbodor to clean up on the rest of the rest of the game. Here I'm going to attach a Dark Energy, or thinking about it at least. Could potentially retreat into this bench Tapu Koko, or okay, it looks like I'm going to promote the Zorua here and bench another Zorua. Okay, so if I'm going to sacrifice the Zorua, it's good that at least I have another backup one. Here Brandon has a Lysander in hand. He has Garbodor. Oh, that's gross. because now I can't even use Instruct to set up. So here he is going to Berserk this thing for the knockout, and I really need something good here. And nothing. So unfortunately, I think I made a couple of suboptimal plays there at the end. If I had knocked out the Drampa GX, I actually think, like I said, we would have been in an extremely dominant position from that point on. But like I said, I did not know what I was going to get off that Sycamore, so... And then also I had prized my Shaman, and honestly I should have known that at that point, just because I had already gotten to look through my deck, so I should have made note that my Shaman was prized. So... yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely not how I wanted that game to go. But nevertheless, it is best 2 out of 3, and that game I don't think took that long, so I still have a chance to come back and win the next 2, hopefully. So I think the one thing I really need, after this entire series that I took away was to not really focus your float stones on Zoroark, just because you need the choice bands to hit for that perfect 180 against Drampa. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I actually picked this deck up for the first time today, and this was the first time I had played against Drampa Garbodor, so I was still kind of feeling out the matchup, and you guys can probably see that on screen. I was still learning, you know, what plays I needed to make and how I needed to approach the matchup. And then Brandon, I think he was doing fine. You know, he's setting up his Drampas pretty quickly and all that stuff. You know, just kind of doing what Drampa does: lead early game with Drampa, clean up late game with Garbodor. Kind of the normal route that deck seems to go. And since this was best 2 out of 3, the loser of each game gets to decide who goes first, so I'm definitely going to decide to go first on this next one here. Okay, and I am going to get to start with a Drampa GX. That's a decent starter. It's definitely a nice wall to kind of hide behind. Okay, and I do have an Ultra Ball, so we can just Tapu Lele. Okay, no, I actually have Lele already in hand, so that means we can go ahead and grab Bridget or grab Fan Club. So I think the move is usually just to grab Bridget. We can grab 2 Zoruas and a Rangaroo. I think that's normally the play I tend to favor with this deck. It depends though. I'm not sure if I have a draw supporter in hand for next turn, so I might want to leave some open space just to potentially Lele again. But nevertheless, I think getting those 3 is good. 2 Zoruas and then the Rangaroo as well. I mean, I always could grab a 3rd Zorua, but I don't really like that, just because then your opponent can really be like, okay, I'm not going to bench anything if the only thing you're really going to set up is Zorua. Okay, and do I have an energy attachment for turn? That's the other big thing I think I really want here. And here, before I ended you know, the search of my deck, there's a couple other things I think I forgot just to make notes. So I was like, you know what, let me just look through my deck and make sure everything is in there before I go on with the rest of my turn. Okay, and I do have Ultra Ball in hand, do have Zoroark in hand, but not too much else I think I really need. I think I have a good hand ready to go for next turn. Okay, and Brandon is going to Sycamore away. It looks like a Rescue Stretcher, Field Blower. I think it was a Psychic Energy, and one other card. And I actually really want him to get down a Team Magma Secret Base this turn. That would actually be huge for me, because I think I'm going to have to bench a Lele on my next turn to get out a supporter. So I really would love Brandon to play down a Magma Base. That way I can get 2 damage counters down and start, you know, being able to hit for a higher amount of damage with my own Drampa GX. So it looks like Brandon's just looking through his deck, seeing what all is in there. And we'll just have to see what he opts to do here. I'm not sure what else he had in hand, but I think we're safe. I don't foresee Brandon getting a triple Max Elixir this turn. That would be absurd. So he does have 1 Max Elixir, is going to attach to the Drampa. But even if Yeah, even if he doesn't knock us out, he still has access to Righteous Edge and also Big Wheel GX as well, potentially. Okay, so he's going to Max Elixir again. Maybe I spoke too soon. And he hits that one, so I'm getting a little scared at this point, to be honest. You know, as good of a first turn as I had, I think a turn 1 Berserk would be really bad for me, so I'm just really hoping he does not get it. Oh, and here he actually could have gotten the turn 1 Berserk for 80 had he attached that Psychic Energy to his Drampa instead, so got a little bit lucky, I think. But here, it looks like I have a couple things I can work with. It is unfortunate that I did not get a Team Magma Secret Base, or Brandon did not get one of his own, because now I am not going to be able to one-shot Brandon Zoroark, or his Drampa GX here, I should say. So I'm going to Ultra Ball, and we're going to get rid of a Drampa GX, and maybe a Zoroark Break, or maybe a Choice Band. It's hard to say. I need all of the cards that are in my hand right now. I think the Zoroark Break is probably the better route, though, just because we have Rescue Stretcher in the deck, so we can get that back, whereas we cannot get our tools back once we've discarded them. Okay, and let's see. Looks like I'm opting to grab a Tapu Lele. That looks like what I'm thinking about currently. So again, a little unfortunate I was not able to get down a Pokemon with some damage counters, but I could potentially even do like some stand-in retreating shenanigans or something like that as well. So I'm going to put down the Float Stone, and looks like a Choice Band onto Drampa. I'm not sure if I like that, though, to be honest. I think maybe I should have put that on the other Zorua. Here I'm going to Instruct, and then Sycamore the rest of my hand away. And do we get double Colorless Energy? That's going to be the big thing here. And I'm not sure if I saw it. I see an Ultra Ball, but nothing else, so that's definitely not good. So here I can Righteous Edge at least and do 50 damage. I do have Teammates in hand and Sycamore for next turn, so no point in using Big Wheel GX. Okay, here Brandon top decks a Tapu Lele GX. It looks like he almost grabbed a Garbodor, but here he's going to get himself a Sycamore. So Brand still needs a couple things to make a knockout happen. He still needs another energy, he needs Magma Secret Base, and he needs another bench Pokemon. Okay, so he has the energy. Does he have the rest, though? Okay, so he does have the Magma Secret Base. He has a Trubbish. He has Choice Band. Okay. So he basically got everything he needed. I'm not too thrilled about that, but I did get Teammates. Or I had Teammates in my hand, so I will be able to actually go for the Zoroark Break play to knock out this Drampa GX, and I think I'm going to be in a fine spot after this as well. As right now we did 50 last turn, so this Drampa GX only has 130 left over. Okay, only thing is I need a Pokemon with some damage counters in order to make that happen. But, okay, also, yeah, we could just do normal Mind Jack. That is also an option. Okay, so I had the Zorua in my hand, it looks like. So I think this is fine too. And we're just going to do a Berserk for the knockout here. So definitely in a good spot now. I think we're starting to stabilize a little bit. If Brandon sets up another Drampa in one turn, though, I will be a little bit bummed out. And here's another situation. I think I should have... I'm not sure if I like... my spot, just because this Zoroark on the bench is a Float Stone. I would prefer that to be a Choice Band in case our break goes down. since Brandon is starting to power up a Drampa GX, so that is something I'm definitely worried about here. If he hits a max elixir, I am definitely going to be in trouble. And here he's just going to end both of us. So he's going to get 4 cards, and I'm also going to get 4 cards. So I think we're probably safe. You know, Brandon still has a decent amount of cards left in his deck, and he still would need a max elixir and a max elixir to work. He's already been through, I think, 5 energy at this point, so I'm hoping we are safe. If we're safe this turn, I think we're in a great spot. And I'm not too worried about going down to the low hand size though, just because we do have that Oranguru in play. And the last card, Brandon hits his max elixir. So yeah, I'm not too excited about this, to be honest, guys. This is definitely a bit of a bad spot. I'm going to need a lot to make a knockout happen here. So one thing I could do potentially is confuse this Drampa GX. That is one thing I could have going for me. Yeah, because I don't see another way to take a knockout this turn, unfortunately. Okay, here I'm going to promote Zoroark since it has the float zone, it has free retreat, all that stuff. And so I have a couple cards in hand. I have a Tapu Koko I could put down. And that actually might be decent because that might soften up everything enough to finish off with foul play on the next turn, assuming I can get a rescue stretcher. And I do have Verse Seeker, so I can teammate as well if I choose to. I do have some options. I'm trying to think what else we can do. We could get out a Zoroark Break. Here, I'm going to bench the Tapu Koko. I kind of like this just because once we do a flying flip, that will actually put enough damage on the board to where we can knock out this Drampa GX on the following turn. Here I am going to play Verse Seeker, and what support do we get? Do we get Sycamore? Do we get Teammates? And here, if I don't really need the rest of the cards in my hand, I think I'm just going to Sycamore here. Teammates, I could grab an exact 2 cards, but really I have everything I need for the turn at this point. Here I'm going to evolve into another Zoroark. I think that's good. Just in case my other one goes down, we will still have another Zoroark to get into our break on the next turn. Okay, and here looks like I'm just doing some math or something. But yeah, Flying Flip definitely seems like the play to do here. So 20 to all of Brandon's Pokemon, and also that softens up that Tapu Lele in case we do need to knock it out for the final 2 prizes or something like that. And here, looks like Brandon's just doing some math or something, but he can definitely knock out this Tapu Koko. He's going to go down to 2 prizes, and so I really, really need a couple things here. Ideally, maybe Zoroark Break and a Dark Energy, or just Choice Band and a DCE would knock out this this Drampa GX as well. So I think that's actually what I should do. Here I'm just debating what I want to do. Looks like I'm going to get rid of Sycamore potentially. And here you can tell I have no idea what I want to do here. I think it just comes from inexperience with this matchup. Here I'm going to Ultra Ball, it looks like Lysander and Sycamore. It looks like I'm saving the Oricorio that's in my hand. That actually could be a decent attack to clean up the game. And here I guess I'm just thinning out some cards out of my hand. I apparently do not have another Zoroark Break, so that's actually really bad. I really need to hit a Rescue Stretcher at some point here. So I'm definitely getting a little bit worried. I don't want this game to slip through my fingers. Even though Brandon is in the lead, I still think we have some outs. You know, I have an Oranguru, Brandon does not. So N could be a very powerful supporter. And here, yeah, I definitely think we should attach the Choice Band and DCE. That'll literally be just enough to take a knockout Here I'm going to bench the Oricorio just because, like I said, it can be a decent backup attacker if need be. And here I'm going to end. That's really interesting. I don't know why I did not play the DCE. Like, that seems like a horrible play. I don't know what I was doing. Like, DC was the other card that was in my hand, right? Like, I'm not going crazy, right? Okay, so let's just see what happens, guys. Okay, I still draw a DCE, so that's fine, I guess. Yeah, so definitely I'm a little confused with what I was doing there, but nevertheless, it ended up working out. Maybe I was just getting a little flustered and stressed and started misplaying, who knows. And here I think I'm debating, do I want to use Rescue Stretcher to get back a Zoroark break right now and just immediately evolve into it? And I actually kind of want to. I think that seems like a good move just because Tapu Lele could also... Because Tapu Lele with the DC could knock out my Zoroark, so I think I actually might want to Rescue Stretcher and get out a Zoroark break to potentially buff my Zoroark break up. That way it can't be knocked out by a DCE. So this is definitely a little bit risky. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm really getting a little stressed here just watching myself play. Like, what was I thinking? And here the Drampa is not knocked out. I'm really confused by what's going on because it had 20 on it from Magma Base. Oh, it was 10 short. That's what it was. I see now. Yeah, so definitely definitely not ideal. So I'm not too excited about the way this game is currently going for me. Maybe I could have attacked with Oricorio. Maybe that would have been decent instead. But luckily I do, like I said, we did end Brandon down to a very low hand size, so he doesn't have too many options right now. So I do have another DCE, and the only thing I'm really worried about is Brandon just knocking me out with a Lele or a Garbodor potentially. So maybe I should take a knockout with the Tapu Lele on the bench, or maybe... Okay, I like the Rescue Stretcher play. Getting the Zoroark break. And here it looks like I'm debating, do I want to shuffle 3 Pokemon into my deck? And I think I don't actually... Okay, looks like I'm putting 2 breaks in my deck. Yeah, that seems like a really weird play. So I do apologize, guys. So this is what happens when you play a deck for the first time, apparently. So we'll see what I am trying to dig for here. Okay, and here I'm going to instruct. Just drawing into a dark energy, so nothing too relevant here. I'm just counting how many items I have in my discard pile just because Garbodor can potentially be a good late game attacker. And here I'm going to end both of us down to a low hand size. Even though Brandon didn't do much on his last turn, he still drew a prize and put him at a higher hand size. But now I can just end him down to 1 card, and it's going to be very unlikely he is going to have exactly what he needs off this 1 card. Okay, so yeah, I can retreat into Tapu Lele, and I think my Lele is safe from being knocked out. And he top decks Sycamore and Versus Seeker, so oh my god. Yeah, that really was depressing. But luckily, I don't think Garbodor can even knock us out this turn. Okay, so Brand does have a DCE in hand, so he can still attack with a Tapu Lele potentially, and or even use Sky Return. That could also be a solid attack as well. But here he's just going to retreat into... Okay, so it looks like he is actually eyeing down the Sky Return play. He's going to Ultra Ball some stuff to get a Drampa. Okay, interesting. So let's see what he opts to do here. If he does bench the Drampa, I think we'll be okay because... Well, actually, I shouldn't say it because we don't have a Choice Banded Zoroark break, so that could be a problem. But here, all we need to do is knock out one more GX, and we'll actually be in a great spot. So, and here it looks like there's some sort of discrepancy over the damage Brandon had, but I think it's accurate though. I think it's supposed to have 40 because I used Flying Flip and he had Ting Magma Secret Base. But anyway, so here we're going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Hex Maniac, and not sure what else here. Looks like a Sycamore. I have an N in hand, so I'm most definitely going to play that this turn, since Brandon drew, very well off of that end of one. I definitely want to make sure he can't do that again. And here it looks like I'm going to do Special Charge, getting back 2 double colorless energies back into my deck. So it's definitely a very close one, guys. I need to knock out one more GX. I really don't want to have to go through this Garbodor if possible. Here I'm going to attach a Dark Energy to Zoroark Break. And I'm going to instruct for 1 first, but then I'm going to actually end, putting us both down at a low hand size. I'm going to put myself down at 2 and Brandon at 1. Even though I'm going to go down to a low hand size, like I've been saying, I have a Rangaroo, so I can draw out of it, whereas Brandon will not be able to. Hopefully. Last time he drew a Sycamore, so let's see if he does that again. And here I'm going to do Foul Play, actually, to use Trash Lance to take a knockout. And so what does Brandon have here? Okay, he's just counting all of his, I guess, all of his item cards, just to see what he's gone through. And here he's actually going to scoop. I actually think Brandon may have had a shot had he attached to Drampa, or even the Tapu Lele. I think he actually still would have had a shot at this. But here he's going to scoop and go to game 3, probably just in the interest of time. That game did take a while, but let's have to see how it goes. So if he had attached to the Drampa, I actually could have used Foul Play to knock off his DCE. If he attached to Tapu Lele, I think he would have been doing 60, which he would have had to 2-shot my, or I think actually 3-shot Zoroark Break. I forget. But either way, he scooped. We're going to game 3. Time is actually running pretty low at this point in the round, so I'm actually really glad that we are not going to sudden death. I always hate those types of situations. So at the very least, we will get part of a game, and each starting out with 6 prizes. And let's see. And I have probably I would actually say this is the worst opening hand I've had the entire day. I have a Zorua, a Zoroark, a Choice Band, and a bunch of energy. So this game might be over extremely quick, guys, and Brandon is getting to go first, so I am just really hoping he ends here. I really don't want to lose, be knocked out of this tournament due to just getting donked on game 3. Like, that would just be a horrible feeling. So hopefully he grabs an N off of this Ultra Ball for what I'm expecting to be a Lele. Or if I can top deck a supporter, that would be great too. I just need something to stay in this game. So it looks like, okay, so he is going to Lele and grabbing 3 Pokemon out of his deck with Bridget. So that is not an N. That is not what I wanted to see. I'm not happy about that at all, but you never know. Like I said, I might be able to top deck something good. We'll see. Yeah, I just need to survive. It's just the biggest thing. Hopefully, Brandon can whip some Max Elixirs or something like that. That would be great here. So he does a Max Elixir. Does he? Okay, so it does work, unfortunately. Maybe he can whiff the DCE for next turn. That would be good too. So I'm not sure what else was in Brandon's hand, but I'm guessing he has a draw supporter for next turn as well if he grabbed that Bridget. And here it looks like he's going to retreat Shaman and actually promote Drampa. I'm actually amazingly excited about this because now, okay, and we drew a basic Zoroark. It's not a supporter, but we're still in this game. But now we can actually use Moonless Madness to confuse Drampa GX. And I think Brandon forgot about the attack. It's not an attack you use too often, but it's Zoroark's first attack just for a dark. It confuses your opponent's active. And so Brandon is going to Sycamore here. So this hopefully will buy us a turn. And let's see what happens here. He's going to play down Team Magma's Secret Base. He's going to put down another Drampa GX. So he's going to get 2 damage counters down on that. And he's going to retreat, wants to get out of that confusion, and just promote Tapu Koko, which has free retreat as well. That's a good play. That way he can free retreat next turn. And here's just going to pass to me, and I draw more energy. In a deck with 10 energy, I've drawn like half of it just in my opening hands. This is really bad. And here I might even just draw past to conceal the strength of my hand, because actually, even though I'm doing really bad, if Brandon does knock out my Zorua, or, you know, or just, you know, promote this Drampa, I'll actually have enough resources in hand to take a knockout on his Drampa GX. So I have Zoroark in hand. I could have evolved into it, but I need to save it and catch Brandon off guard. Here he's going to Sycamore yet again. And one thing that's worth noting too, once time gets called, whoever is ahead on prizes at the end of the 3 remaining turns that each player gets will be the victor. So even though I'm in a really bad spot, I still have a chance of stealing this game, despite having a pretty much completely dead hand. Okay, so Brandon is going to attach to another Drampa GX. And here he's going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of a Magma Base and a Hex Maniac. That seems good. He's probably just going to grab something to thin out of his deck. Looks like a Trubbish. Okay, so this is actually going to be really big because since Brandon does have a full bench, a Mind Jack with the Choice Band I have in hand will knock out this Drampa GX. It's going to be really bad though because I'm not going to have an additional Pokemon unless we top deck something. And a Magma Base, excellent. Worthless. But here I can still take a knockout, and if Brandon does not have a way to respond this turn, I actually win the entire series. Because I believe Brandon's turn is the last turn. So he has to knock me out. He has to win right now, or... And here he's going to Sycamore. Does he hit the DCE to win? And I actually don't think I see it. Yeah, if he had, I'd imagine we would have seen him just immediately play it down. And unfortunately, all Brain can do is Righteous Edge for 20 damage, which will knock off my DCE. Yes, I actually think this is going to be the game, guys. I'm going to take 20 damage, but like we were saying, that was the last turn. Actually, I think my turn is the last turn technically, but whoever is ahead on prizes now will win the entire game, which means that I win the last one and this one, so I will be advancing on to the finals. So definitely stick around to see me in the finals for the last video of this series. But yeah, definitely a super close series. Definitely an interesting one to watch. And like I said, I do apologize for my misplays. It was my first time piloting this deck, and I was just trying to learn this matchup and the deck as I was playing throughout the day. But anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching this one as normal. Feel free to like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merchandise over at rarecandytcg.com. If you can pick up something to help support the channel, it'd mean a lot to us. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.